Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another video about The Sims 4. So, understandably, there hasn't been much news at all regarding the future of the game and what can we expect to see next. There is another video that I want to do about how releases for The Sims 4 have seemed to fall into some sort of pattern, but that is for another day. Today, I want to talk about something interesting that I saw on Twitter. So, Sacrificial, who you may know as the creator of many popular Sims 4 mods, including Extreme Violence and Passionate Romance, and several others, tweeted about this article from PocketGamer.biz. This actually went up on October 30th, 2019. I guess I missed this because this was in the middle of all the pre-release hype for Discovery University. But this article talks about how The Sims has surpassed $5 billion in lifetime revenue. So the article says it was revealed by Electronic Arts' CEO, Andrew Wilson, during the company's Q2 earnings call. The number of monthly players for the simulation title increased by 40% year on year. In fiscal 2019, The Sims 4 had grown 35%, with the company predicting continued growth. EA's management simulation titles crossed the $1 billion threshold in lifetime revenue by the end of December 2018. The Sims 4 also continues to be an incredible long-term live service with a growing audience. Monthly average players were up more than 40% year over year in The Sims 4, and engagement across the franchise has led The Sims to surpass $5 billion in lifetime sales, said Wilson. The Sims continues to be one of the great franchises in gaming, and we have plans to bring new experiences to its amazing players for a long time to come. So it is very important to note that this $5 billion number is not only for The Sims 4. That would also include the mainline Sims games, Sims 1, Sims 2, and Sims 3 on PC, as well as all of the games that have been on consoles, both home consoles and handheld, like Bustin' Out, and then there's the spin-offs like Sims Medieval, the Stories trilogy that came out during the Sims 2 era. My Sims is probably part of that number as well. And then there's also the very lucrative mobile markets where they have a couple of games going on right now, like Free Play and The Sims Mobile. So that is a lot to include in that number, as well as the fact that this is over a 20-year period, which is quite a long time. But even with those things in mind, I still think this is a really high number. A really, really high number. And even though it's like, oh cool, yeah, my favorite gaming franchise has done extremely well for itself, at the same time, it really makes me wonder about what's going on right now with The Sims 4 a little bit. Because it's just like, yes, I do like The Sims 4, and I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but around just about every corner, there's always something where it's like, oh man, this could have been better, and that could have been better. Why wasn't more time spent on this? Even though no video game is perfect, at least from the video games that I've played, it still sucks to see that The Sims 4 could have been so much more than what it is now. The game's been out for well over 5 years, and even though they have given us a lot of the basics back, I will acknowledge that. Like, we did get the toddlers back, terrain manipulation, and a lot of other things. There's still some basic stuff that's missing, like where are the burglars, and the firefighters, and a whole lot of other things. Cars, babies, they could be way better, and things like that. And when the Sims franchise is still making that much money, and with the Sims 4 growing so much year over year, like the CEO of EA is saying, it really makes me question, like, why can't they do better? It always seems like they have such a low budget for everything that they put out. For every cool addition to the game, there's always some big exclusion or change that's sure to be controversial. Like, for example, with City Living compared to Late Night, where City Living is a lot more culturally diverse, but then elevators have no animations, and you can't place apartments outside of San Myshuno. Or with Cats and Dogs, how we finally, for the first time in a Pets expansion pack, we get to run a vet clinic, but then we had to get a separate stuff pack for rodents, and then other small pets as well as horses are still missing. On occasion, it does make sense to give some things like vampires their own pack, so they can have more attention to detail and also be more optional for those players who do not like occults. but do like having things such as a city world. But there's still so many shortcomings regardless. In the end, I can see why other players like Sacrificial are very angry over how EA is making so much revenue off of The Sims. I've seen it being said a lot that Maxis is not to blame and that it's all because EA is not managing the franchise well enough, which I would not be surprised if that is the real truth. I've met many of the Sim Gurus in real life, and they're genuinely passionate fans just like us, so I'm sure they're doing as much as they can to make something great. Whatever it is that's going on behind the scenes that appears more complicated than pure laziness, I wish EA could solve whatever problems it is that's causing The Sims to disappoint so many players. I find it hard to imagine The Sims 2 ever being topped, but I hope more money is going into making a future Sims game more like it, while taking some of the improvements that 3 and 4 made. It's not like EA is short on money, so I hope they can make better use of it. Not to mention, in a few years, there looks to finally be solid competition in the life simulation genre with Paralives. There's also Rod Humble, who was recently hired by Paradox Interactive, who you may know worked on City Skylines, and Rod Humble did work on The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, so he might be working on a Sims competitor as well. Even now, Animal Crossing has caught the attention of many Simmers, including myself, and even though its focus is still different from The Sims, I still see it as potential competition since I feel like it is still somewhat of a life simulation game. So if EA does not step it up with The Sims, it could take a big hit. I don't think it could be struck down as easily as SimCity was, since that franchise had 2 poorly received games in a row after a lot of downtime in between since SimCity 4. But I hope competition can encourage The Sims to be better in the future. I just don't know how long that's gonna take.